What's up everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel, and this is going to be the round 21 AFL tips and predictions. Yeah, we're only 3 rounds to go. It's getting really close to the end of the season, and it only felt like not too long ago that the season started, so maybe it's just me, but I feel like this season's gone by extremely quickly. Of course, as usual, as I always do before we get into the tips, I'm going to be reviewing last week's score of round 20, and look, bar the first game, I did pretty well. I mean, this is one of the few instances where I can actually say to myself, man, I did quite well. I got 8 out of 9 for the round, and I was in the top 12%. Normally you see it, and it's like top 80%, top 90%, but finally I did actually quite well. I was a little bit disappointing with the first game. I tipped the Dockers to beat the D's. Before the game, I was actually contemplating, maybe I should go switch the D's. They play quite well at Optus, yada, 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 but no, I'm not usually one to actually go through with the tip. Should have backed in my gut feeling, but that's alright, because I got the next 8 games correct in the Pies, the Swans, the Saints, the Cats, the Crows. That was a tip I was really satisfied with. An upset tip that not many people would have predicted. And I was actually, funny story, I was very, very, very close to changing my tip. But the reason why I didn't is because I simply just forgot. And then the Suns, the Tigers, that was a good tip to get as well. And the Bombers. So 8 out of 9, I'm very happy with 8 out of 9. I didn't even realise that you could set your own jokers. So for everyone wondering, round 21 is the joker round for myself and Ross Macca's comp, and for the competition in itself. Now, of course, we'll review the big calls, and as pretty much every other week, they weren't as successful as the tips. I only got one big call correct, and that was for the Geelong v the Dogs game, where I predicted the Dogs to score the first 2 goals of the game. So as usual, we all know what that means. We'll have to go through the top 3 liked comments. The one with the most likes, just cracking over the ton, we've got King Gold with 102, and Overnight Stream shirtless. The fact that this is just borderline accepts what I allow for the punishments is saying something. The second most liked punishment was from Ashton Steele, and I don't know if this is any better. Do a 12-hour stream playing Fall Guys, but every hour you have to yell as loud as you can. And the third most likes was from Don't Read My Profile Picture, and that was to go to a team, cheer for a team that isn't playing next match day vlog. If it was Essendon v North, you'd say Go Hawks. I feel like we've gotten someone like that already before, so I sort of would prefer as much as I hate the streaming ones, we've had a few streaming punishments for this week, so it looks like we're probably going to get on that one. And I guess it's easy to just get done out of the way, even though I don't want to get it done. So, sucked in King Gold. I'm doing the Fall Guys stream, 12-hour Fall Guys stream. How am I going to be able to do that? Maybe I'll pick a Saturday or a Sunday during the finals week bye. I'll let you in on when I'll do this, but I don't know if it's worth doing it on a weekend, considering that no one's going to join at 4 AM in the morning on the Monday, that's for sure. So there you go, Ashton Steele. I think that's the first time you've gotten one of the punishments chosen. And with all that out of the way, we're going to get straight into round 21, because we've got a few juicy lineups. I think I saw AFL Legend tell me that it's a really tough round to tip, so we'll see how true that really is. Yeah, well, the first game, I guess he's not wrong with this one. Melbourne take on Collingwood at the MCG. I personally don't recall a greater Melbourne v Collingwood game, or a more highly anticipated Melbourne v Collingwood game. I mean, they're both in the top 4, second v third, which I can't recall the last time that actually happened. And yeah, both sides are playing for a top 4 spot. I honestly reckon that whoever wins this game can almost bank in a top 4 spot. I reckon Collingwood can get a top 4 spot even if they lose the next 2. I might be wrong with that. I'm not too sure with my calculations, but definitely the D's, if they win this, they're going to be playing in the top 4 and probably top 2, honestly. I mean, the D's, again, they solidified their premiership credentials on the weekend, completely obliterating the Dockers, just playing the game on their terms. They're a very different side with May and Lever both in the team, and they just didn't let the Dockers play the game they wanted to play. Suited to the conditions phenomenally, and they seem to play Optus really, really well, the D's. So they're back in the hunt. I reckon they're probably the second best side, still behind the Cats, which I think most can agree on. Whereas the Pies, they are still continuing their winning ways with 10 in a row, and they seem to just get it done so many times in a close one under 12 points. They're in with a chance here, but I think the D's are just going along really nicely. I think they're going to start, playing their best footy as we approach finals, and I'm not taking anything away from what Collingwood have done. They've been incredible this season, but I think they're due for a loss, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the D's, this is going to be a shock performance from the D's. They're going to just turn up, play the way they want to play for 4 quarters, and win convincingly. That is my tip. And screw it. I know it's probably not going to happen. I'm just wasting margin here, but I'm going to go the D's by 37. I don't hate Collingwood. It's just a bit of a wild tip. So I'm going to go the D's by 37 in a classic game. The Pies are set to lose, and I think this will be a reality check for Collingwood that they're not as good as they think they really are. And for this game, I reckon the big call will be that the D's win every quarter for the game. So that's probably the boldest tip I'm going to make all round, I reckon. The next game, we've got Hawthorn take on Gold Coast at UTAS. I'd say this is a pretty 50-50 game. I don't think the Suns can still make... Actually, no, they probably can. They need to win their next 3, and it's not going to happen. And even then, they're going to rely on other results. Hawthorn on the weekend, I'll be honest, aside from the last quarter, they were very disappointing. I thought they were pretty average. They were just not moving the ball efficiently. They had a lot of inside 50s, but just junk inside 50s. And the only reason that the scoreboard seemed as close as it was because they kicked 5 in a row in the last quarter. I personally reckon the scoreboard sort of flattered the Hawks. Meanwhile, the Suns, they got a late scare from the Eagles in that game. They were up by like 5-6 goals at half time, and they allowed the Eagles to get back into the game. But credit to the Suns, they could have easily dropped that, but they stuck to their guns, and they ended up winning the game in a thriller. What a game. Yeah, I could see it going any way, honestly, but I think Hawthorn, as of late, they've been playing some good footy, and they seem to know how to get it done at UTAS in Tasmania. So because of that, because of the UTAS factor, I'm going to go the Hawks to win this one by 13 points. And because it is in Tassie, my big call bit that there are 8 more behinds than goals throughout this game. The next game of the round, we've got the Giants take on the Bombers at Giants Stadium. Another sort of meaningless game of the round, although to be fair, the Giants... They want to play for pride. They can't be seen as a side. They can't be perceived as a side that have just given up already, checked out, as Mark McVeigh quoted on the weekend. Some pretty harsh words uttered by Mark McVeigh, obviously, after their pathetic game against the Swans. Let's be real. It's a battle of the bridge. You think for the event itself, they'd actually stand up for the occasion, but that wasn't to be. It was really, really disappointing from the Giants. And the Bombers, on the other hand, I mean, no one really watched this game. We all sort of expected them to win pretty comfortably against North Melbourne. But we can't forget now, they've actually got a lot of form going their way. 5 of the last 7. And honestly, they could have actually won those 2 games they dropped against the Eagles and the Pies. So even though the form probably suggests that the Giants have been getting it done over the Bombers, let me have a look. Yeah, 4 of the last 5, the Giants. I'm still going to tip the Bombers. Form-wise, they've been great. And the Giants are giving me no reason to tip them. I hope they actually sort of fight in the last 3 weeks and don't just give up, because that would really just put a sour taste to their whole season. So I reckon the Bombers get this one done by 22 points with my big call. The Bombers score 115 points or more. The next game of the round, we've got the Dogs take on the Dockers at Marvel Stadium. Huge game for both sides. The Dogs, they want to win this to stay in the hunt for the top 8. The Dockers want to win this to stay in the hunt for the top 4. Both sides had pretty poor losses on the weekend. The Dogs starting really good off the blocks against the Cats, kicking the first 4. But that third quarter, the Cats just proved their dominance. They were just so powerful and aggressive in that third quarter, and they completely ripped the game away from the Dogs in that one, unfortunately for them, but fortunately for my sake. Whereas the Dockers, I was pretty pissed off with their performance. They were very, very slow. At the moment, their foreline's very dysfunctional, and I don't really see it working with Tabner up there and Lobb, who will probably leave at the end of the year. So even though the Dogs play quite well at Marvel, could be a bit of an upset, but I'm going to back the Dockers in. I reckon the Dockers, they got to find a win, and they're a better side than the Dogs this year, in my opinion. So the Dockers win this one by 5 points in an absolute thriller. Well, my big call on this one will be that both sides score less than 35 points up until half-time. First of the 2 Saturday night games, we've got the Cats take on the Saints at GMHBA Stadium. This could really, really turn ugly for the Saints, considering we haven't beaten the Cats since 1999 at the Cattery. And the Cats are 10 in a row and seem like they're just obliterating every opponent that goes their way. And I'm sort of dreading this one. I'll be actually at the game, so expect a pissed off version of me for a matchday vlog, because you wouldn't really give us too much of a chance, would you? And I don't blame you. We haven't really been good form-wise. We've only scraped past the Hawks and the Eagles in the last couple of weeks. And even though we were actually quite good against the Hawks, we just didn't really take our chances with another inaccurate display and let the Hawks get back into the game in the last quarter. And Geelong, after an early scare, proved why they're the premiership favourites with an outstanding third quarter of footy. They were just so unstoppable in that third quarter, which won on the game, obviously. So, haven't beaten the Cats since 99 at the Cattery. The only thing that we have going for us is that we were okay against them last year at GMHBA. We were the last side to beat the Cats this year. Their last loss, the Cats, was in round 9 against the Saints. Home ground advantage, GMHBA Stadium. They'll win, and they could put a number on us if we're not careful. The Cats to win this one by 33 points. My big call, the Cats lead by 5 more goals at half-time. The other Saturday night game, we've got Port Adelaide taking on Richmond at the Adelaide Oval. Richmond need to win this game just to continue to fight their spot for the top 8. And the Power, I think their final chances are all but done now. I think, they've just got to play for pride now. I feel like due to the fact that they can't make the finals anymore. They might have that added pressure lifted from them, and they might play with a much more freedom in this game. The Tigers, what a win they performed on the weekend. They were all but done at half-time, but Tigers footy prevailed in the second half, and they got a really, really important 7-point win for their season. But Adelaide, again, losing another close game. Valiant performance, but just not simply good enough at the end. And I don't know, I just feel like the Power, they're good at the Adelaide Oval, play their best footy there. The Tigers aren't that great at the Adelaide Oval, and I feel like the Power are due for a win. I reckon the Power get this win. Hopefully they win. I'll be backing for the Power in this one, even though I won't really be watching it. And I think the Power get a pretty comfortable performance at the Adelaide Oval by 22 points. My big call, the Power string on 5 or more goals in a row at any stage of the game. Now the Sunday games, none really seem too appetising. The first one definitely doesn't. We've got North Melbourne taking on Sydney at Marvel Stadium. North, another average performance against the Bombers on the weekend. Really not too much to take out of it. We sort of expected that to occur. I don't really know what's going to happen right now for North. They've sort of stopped with the competitive performances against the Pies and the Tigers, and are now playing back to the way they've been playing pretty much all season. And Sydney, they're probably the form team in the competition aside the Cats and the Pies. They're going about it incredibly right now. They're timing their run superbly, and that top 4 spot right now is theirs to lose. And when you're coming up against North, I mean, they're not going to do what they did against them in round 4 or whenever it was. They'll win this game easily. I'll be very shocked if this isn't a 50-plus point win. I'm going the Swans by a huntsman. Swans win it by 69 points. And my big call, they'll have 11 or more individual goal kickers. 2 more games to play out. We've got Brisbane taking on Carlton at the Gabba. The Lions at the Gabba. I struggled to see which team disappointed me more. I'd have to say the Blues. I mean, the Lions, they were so good in the first half. I thought, finally, they're going to win at the MCG, and that helps for their premiership credentials. But then they go and bottle a 42-point lead, and that's just damning for the Lions right now. And because of that, I don't know if I can see winning the premiership. I mean, they can probably scope in the top 4, but the same thing's probably going to happen. They're just going to have these results. They're really, really poor defensively, I've noticed as well. And if you can't win at the MCG, let alone interstate, then you're probably not prepared yet for a premiership. The Blues, well, people thought that they were a chance for the flag a few weeks ago. They've really slipped down in the power rankings, and in everyone's mind as the best team in the comp with a terrible performance against Adelaide. I mean, they went into that one thinking they were going to get the win, and they walked out of it with a really, really, really big reality check. And the Blues now, they aren't yet secured for finals. They're probably going to win one more game, and with their tough run coming ahead, they've got the Lions at the Gabba, the D's at the MCG, and the Pies at the MCG. Could we see Carlton missing out the finals? Yeah, they just kept missing tackles on the weekend against the Crows. The Crows are just way too good. They came out to play. The Blues, they were arrogant, expected to win, and they came out with a very, very bad loss. Like, they're definitely their worst loss of the season, worst performance of the season as well. But I think they're going to get a kick up their asses on the weekend. I think they're going to play really good footy, and they're going to challenge the Lions in this one. However, the Lions, they're a different side of the Gabba. They're not very good interstate, but at the Gabba, they're a very good side, and I think that'll still get them over the line. In a really good game of footy, I reckon. The Lions get it done by 19, but my big call, the Blues are actually in front at 3/4 time. Final game of the round, we've got West Coast taking on Adelaide at Optus Stadium. It's probably the last gettable game the Eagles have until the rest of the year. They have been actually alright as of late. They were decent against the Saints. They definitely took it up to the Suns after half time. I mean, that was a really good game of footy. I think it was the first or second time they've scored over 100 points. They really, really wanted to win that game, and they almost did. And the Adelaide Crows, they were even better. They had their best performance of the year, you have to say. Were just hungry for the footy, just wanted it more, provided the effort, provided the intensity for 4 quarters. And when they're doing that against the Carlton side, that just thought they were going to get a win and it would be a walk in the park performance. It was proof in the pudding. They got it done by 5 goals. So with the way the two sides played on the weekend, we could be set for a really, really interesting contest. A hidden gem of a game, you could say, in the final game of the round. And I don't think I've tipped the Eagles at all this season, bar the first game of the round. This is my last chance of tipping the Eagles, but I simply reckon the Crows get the win based off last week's performance. It's going to be a good game of footy. I can see it being high scoring, just free flowing. No team really has anything to lose, obviously, since they can't make the finals. But I think the Crows get it done in the close game by 12 points. My big call, Darling and Walker combined for 8 or more goals. So my tips were the D's, the Hawks, the Bombers, the Dockers, the Cats, the Power, the Swans, the Lions, and the Crows. A few 50-50 games, honestly. So AFL Legend was actually right for the fact that there were a few difficult games to tip this round. Of course, as always, we head to the tipping comp to see who did the best for round 20. And Mitch is going to win. Won the round with a perfect score of 9 and a margin of 23. If you get a perfect score in this competition, you get an extra point. Colby Marshall with another perfect score. John Tix, Richmond Tigers 1. And Nick W. Drew also with a perfect score. As I finished 92nd out of 1,215. Don't know about you, but I don't reckon that's a bad result whatsoever. As we head to the total scores, and Nick Daichel's official again with another really, really good result for round 20. He's up by 4. I don't think he can be catched, to be honest. Yeah, 3 rounds to go. The people around him have better do something incredible to overtake Nick Daichel's, because he seems to be winning this one with another good score of 8 on the weekend. Lion Boulder with 149, Rowan Marshall-Son with 148. Dana Marino, Winsome, Cash, Cooper Finn, Jack AFL, Jake Felipe, Dockers Army, and Ali Merez round at the top 10. Yeah, I still feel like it's probably going to be too tough for first place, but top 2, top 3 still can get money, so it's tight for those spots, and you never know. Nick Daichel's official could have a shocking round, so for those, if they're watching this, I'd start tipping upsets to maybe try and get first place in the tipping competition. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching another tipping video. Leave your tips down below. Quickly, I'll be doing a Kahoot stream tomorrow, but we need more people to submit their Kahoot. So if you want to submit a Kahoot for a shout out, I've got a Google Docs pinned down below. So it'd be great if you could do that, because we want to get the Kahoot stream tomorrow night to be really, really fun and enjoyable. And it can only be done when you guys can help make me some Kahoots. So again, thank you for watching. Calm down a punishment, and we'll see you very soon in my next video.